Good day, students. Today we will going to learn another math lesson. So are you ready? Let's start. But before that, I want you to simplify this equation. So we have here 5 times 6 plus 4. So as what you can see in this equation, we have two operations. That is multiplication and addition. Now, what do you think is the answer? Notice that we have different answers here. If we're going to the multiplication first, we got the answer of 34. So, let us try to answer the equation. 5 times 6 is 30. Added by 4, the answer is 34. But if we're going to the addition first, we have 6 plus 4, that is 10. Multiply it by 5, the answer is 50. Now, what do you think is the correct answer? Is it 34 or 50? If we want to know the correct answer, then we will going to learn the order of operation. The order of operation is a set of rules wherein if we have an equation that have multiple operation such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, we need to follow this rule. Okay? It's because in math, we cannot have different answers. So this rule is made so that we will arrive with one answer. That's why we have this what we call order of operation. Now, to explain further what is this order of operation, I want you to watch our video about Rob here in Math Antics.
Hi, and welcome to Math Antics. Today we're going to talk about an important math concept called order of operations. Order of operations is just a set of math rules that tell you which math operations, like addition or multiplication, to do first. Now you might be wondering, especially if you're a teenager, why do I need rules to tell me which operations to do first? Can't I just do them in any order I want? Well, that's a really good question. And to answer it, we're going to give two totally different people the same math problem to solve. The problem is 2 plus 5 times 4. I like addition better than multiplication, so I'm going to do that first. Let's see, 2 plus 5 gives us 7, and then I just multiply that 7 by the 4, and I get 28. That was easy, but you'd better not copy my answer. Don't worry, I'm not going to copy your answer because I want the right answer. And I prefer multiplying, so I'm going to do that first. Let's see, 4 times 5 equals 20, and then I'll add the 2, which gives me 22 for a final answer. What makes you think that's the right answer? All my calculations were correct. I even checked it with a calculator. The only calculator I need is right up here. And the correct answer is boop, 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 22. Okay, so which one of these guys do you think is right? Neither one made any mistakes with the calculations. They just did the operations in a different order and got different answers. Well, since there were no mistakes, in a way they were both right. But math would be a very confusing subject if there were different answers to the same problem. And that's where order of operations can help us out. The order of operations rules are a way for us all to agree on the order that you should do math operations in. And if we always do operations in the same order, then we'll always get the same answer. So now that you know why we need order of operations rules, let's find out what those rules are. There are basically 4 of them, and they go something like this. First, do operations in parentheses and brackets. Next, do exponents. Then, do multiplication and division. Last, do addition and subtraction. Let's take a closer look at each of these rules and see some examples where they help us. First on the list was do operations in parentheses and brackets. Now, in case you haven't seen parentheses or brackets used in math before, let me briefly explain how they work. Parentheses are just these symbols that curve forwards and backwards, and they're used in pairs like this. And when we put numbers and operators in between them, it forms a group. It's almost like the parentheses form a package to hold whatever math stuff we put inside them. And brackets work exactly the same way as parentheses. They just have a different shape that looks a little more boxy, but they mean exactly the same thing. So parentheses and brackets are used to group things together, and our rules tell us to do any operations inside these groups first. For example, have a look at this problem. 10 times 4 plus 5. It has 3 numbers and 2 operations, multiplication and addition. But 2 of the numbers and the addition symbol are inside parentheses. That means that they form a group, and we need to do that part of the problem first. 4 plus 5 equals 9, so the part inside the parentheses can just be replaced with the simplified value 9. Oh, and once you do the math that's inside parentheses and get a single number like this, you usually don't need to show the parentheses anymore. Now that the parentheses are gone, we just have one operation left to do. We multiply 10 times 9, and that gives us 90 as our final answer. So parentheses can really help you know what part of a problem you're supposed to do first. But what if you get a problem that has more than one set of parentheses, like this? 5 minus 3 plus 6 times 2. Fortunately, it doesn't matter which set of parentheses you do first. You just need to do everything that's inside the parentheses before you do anything that's not inside parentheses. In other words, we need to simplify both of our parentheses groups before we can do the addition in between them. The first group, 5 minus 3, simplifies to 2. And the second group, 6 times 2, simplifies to 12. Now we can do the last operation and add the values that we got from simplifying. 2 plus 12 equals 14. Okay, now that we know that we always do operations in parentheses or brackets first, let's take a closer look at the second rule that says the next thing we do is exponents. Now, if you haven't seen exponents before, they're just a way of writing repeated multiplication. For example, the repeated multiplication 4 times 4 can be written in a shorter form as 4 multiplied twice. And 4 times 4 times 4 can be written as 4 multiplied 3 times. And 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 can be written as 4 multiplied 4 times. Get the idea? This small number is called an exponent, or power. It just tells you how many times to multiply the bigger number together. So after we take care of any parentheses, simplifying any exponents becomes the next highest priority. For example, in this problem, we have to simplify the exponent before we can do the other multiplication. The exponent is telling us to multiply 5 together twice. So 5 times 5 is 25. And after we do that, then we multiply the result by 3. So 25 times 3 is 75. Oh, and one thing I should point out. Sometimes you'll get a problem that has exponents inside of parentheses, like this problem. And you may wonder, how can I get rid of the parentheses before I do the exponents? You might think that if you simplify the exponent first, you're breaking the rules. But the truth is that by doing whatever operations are inside the parentheses, you are doing the parentheses first. The parentheses really just tell you where to start. So in this problem, first we do 3 to the power of 2, which means 3 times 3, which is 9. Then the part inside the parentheses is 9 times 4, which equals 36. And once the parentheses are gone, we add 36 plus 6 and get 42 as our final answer. All right, now we're going to look at the last 2 rules together. These 2 rules are really important because they deal with the most common math operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And the rules tell us that we need to do multiplication and division before we do addition and subtraction. To see how these rules work, let's look at a few quick examples that use those basic operations. First, let's try this one. 2 plus 5 times 4. Aha! Does this look familiar? Yep, it's the one we gave to my 2 friends earlier. And now that we have our rules, we see that we have to do the multiplication before the addition. 5 times 4 equals 20, and then we add the 2, which gives us 22. So the second guy was right. What a surprise! Now let's try this one. 3 times 5 minus 1. Our rules tell us that multiplication is higher on the list than subtraction, so we do 3 times 5 first. And that gives us 15, and then we subtract the 1, which leaves 14 as our final answer. Here's one with division and subtraction. 20 minus 10 divided by 5. And since division has a higher priority, we do the 10 divided by 5 first, which equals 2. And then we subtract 2 from 20 and get 18 as our final answer. And here's another problem. 12 divided by 6 plus 5. Again, our rules say to do the division before addition. So 12 divided by 6 equals 2, and then we add the 5 to get 7. And here's one last problem. 40 divided by 4 times 5. Which do we do first? The multiplication or division? Our rules don't tell us. Well, that's because multiplication and division are tied for priority or importance. So are addition and subtraction. And that's the reason we need an extra part at the end of each of these rules that says from left to right. If you have a problem that has both multiplication and division, then you're supposed to work it from left to right. That's because in some cases, you can get a different answer if you go from right to left. For example, in this problem, if you work from right to left the wrong way, you would do the 4 times 5 first and get 20. And then 40 divided by 20 equals 2. But if you go from left to right, you would do 40 divided by 4 first, which is 10. And then 10 times 5 equals 50. Wow, the direction we went made a big difference. So whenever you have a problem that has a mixture of multiplication and division, or a mixture of addition and subtraction, you know to do the operations in order from left to right. All right, we're just about done, but let's have one more look at all 4 of our rules before you start practicing with the exercises. The order of operations rules say, first, do operations in parentheses and brackets. Next, do exponents. Then, do multiplication and division from left to right. Last, do addition and subtraction from left to right. All right, that does it for this video. Good luck with the exercises, and I'll see you next time. Learn more at mathantics.com.
Okay, so that is the order of operation. Now we know that we need to follow this operation so that we will arrive with one exact answer. Okay, but this time I'm going to show to you the PEMDAS. PEMDAS is just like the same as Rob discussed, the first rule, the second rule, the third rule, and the fourth rule. But in this case, I just label them using the acronym PEMDAS, which is P stands for parentheses, which should be done first. The E stands for the exponent, the second one. The M and the D are in the same category, which is the multiplication and division from left to right, and the AS, which is the addition and the subtraction from left to right. So if we have an equation wherein we have multiple operation, just remember this rule, and that is the PEMDAS. P for parentheses, E for exponent, M for multiply and divide, A and S for add and subtract. Remember the acronym PEMDAS. Now, let us try to have this equation. 5 times 2 plus 15 plus 3 times 5 plus 17. Now, the rule PEMDAS tells us that we need to deal with the numbers which are inside the parentheses. So start with the numbers that are inside the parentheses. We have 15 plus 3 times 5. Now, as what we can see, we have 2 operations, but we need to do with the multiplication first before we add. So 3 times 5, that is 15, and 15 plus 15, that is 30. So I just copy the 5, the 2, and the 17. Now, since we have already arrived with one answer, and that is 30, let us remove our parentheses. So we have here now 5 times 2 plus 30 plus 17. So we have 2 operations here. we have multiplication and addition. So we know that multiplication should come first before we do the addition. So we're going to do the multiplication, which is the 5 times 2, that is 10. Just copy the 30, just copy the 17. So we arrive now with only one operation, and that is addition. So remember, we start adding from left to right. So 10 plus 30, that is 40. 40 plus 17, we have the answer of 57. So, in order for us to arrive with one answer, we just follow this rule or the acronym called PEMDAS. Let us have more example. We have 18 divided by 6 times 5 minus 14 divided by 7. So again, the PEMDAS rule tells us that we need to deal with the numbers that are inside the parentheses. So we have here 18 divided by 6 times 5. But division and multiplication are the same when it comes in their importance. But the PEMDAS tells us that we need to do the numbers that are in the left before we go to the right. So left to right. So as what we can see here, the operation that are in the left is division here. So we have 18 divided by 6. So do the numbers that are in the left. So let's start with 18 divided by 6. 18 divided by 6, that is 3. Then 3 times 5, that is 15. So we arrive with one single answer. Then let us remove our bracket. Now, let us now bring down 14, bring down the divide, and bring down 7. Now we have here 15 minus 14 divided by 7. So we have two operations here, subtraction and division. Which one should we do first? Do we subtract or should we do the division? Very good. Your answer is correct. We need to do the division first before we do the subtraction, because division is in the higher priority compared to subtraction. So 14 divided by 7, that is 2. Just bring down 15 and the subtract sign. So 15 minus 2, for our answer, we have 13. Okay, let's proceed to another example. We have here 2 plus 1 plus 4 times 2 plus 1 plus 3. So as what we can see here in our example, we are dealing with parentheses, and at the same time, it was enclosed by this what we called bracket. Now, don't you worry. It's because the PEMDAS tells us that we need to do the numbers that are inside the parentheses. This one, okay? What are the numbers that are included or grouped by our parentheses should be done first. So, the numbers that are inside our parentheses is 2 plus 1. So, we're going to do this one. 2 plus 1, the answer is 3. Okay? Now, this one, the 3 here means we're going to multiply it with 4. So, we have here 4 times 3 plus 3. So, we're going to do this one. 4 times 3, the answer is 12. 12, bring down plus sign, bring down 3. So 12 plus 3, the answer is 15. Copy the plus, copy the 1, copy the 2 outside. Okay? So, since 15 is just the only number that we have here, just remove our bracket sign, and then we're going to add it with 1. Okay? So 15 plus 1, that is 16. Now this time, once we cannot see any operation here at the center, it means to say, and these numbers are enclosed by the bracket, it means to say that we are multiplying. So let us multiply 16 times 2 for our final answer, that is 32. Okay, so again, if we are experiencing or if we have multiple brackets or we have a lot of numbers that are being grouped by parentheses, by brackets, don't you worry, just do the numbers that are inside our parentheses. Now let us try some word problem. We have here, Martha pays 20 pesos for the materials to make earrings. She make 10 earrings and sell the 7 for 5 pesos each and the remaining 3 for 2 pesos each. Now find Martha's profit. Now in this problem, we are going to use our knowledge about the order of operation. Now let us analyze. So out of 20 pesos, Martha makes 10 earrings and sell the 7 for 5 pesos. So we have here 7 times 5. And the remaining 3 is she sell it for 2 pesos. So for this one, we have 3 times 2. So we have here 7 times 5 plus the 3 times 2. And to find Martha's profit, we will going to subtract it with her original money, which is 20 pesos. So we're going to subtract it to minus 20. So here is now our expression or equation. 7 times 5 plus 3 times 2 minus 20. So as what we can see here in our equation, we have multiplication, addition, and subtraction. But based on the 3 operation, the highest is multiplication. So we're going to start with multiplication starting from the left, which is the 7 times 5. So 7 times 5, that is 35. Copy the remaining numbers. So we have here 35 plus 3 times 2 minus 20. So we still have 3 operation, which is addition, multiplication, and subtraction. Okay, the highest above or the highest operation among these 3 is multiplication. So we're going to do the 3 times 2. 3 times 2 is 6. So 35 plus 6 minus 2. So we have now 2 operation left. We have addition and subtraction. So based on our rule, addition and subtraction are the same when it comes in their level, but we are going to start from the left. So the one that is on the left is addition. So we're going to add 35 plus 6, that is 41, subtract it by 20. So 41 subtracted by 20, we got the answer of 21. So it means to say out of 20 pesos, which is Martha used for making her earrings, so she made 21 pesos profit.
Parentheses first, exponents next, multiplication and division in the same step, addition and subtraction, if you got the nerve, from left to right, first come, first serve. Parentheses first, 2 times 4, the product's 8, are you ready for more? Exponents next, 2 squared is 4, let's move down like we did before, time to divide or multiply, let's see what we got, take a look at the signs, divide the 8 by the 2, the quotient's 4, and we're almost through, it's finally time to add or subtract, 8's the answer, and that's a fact.
Turn that down!
Parentheses first, exponents next, multiplication and division in the same step, addition and subtraction, if you got the nerve, from left to right, first come, first serve.
2!
Parentheses first, 2 times 6, the product's 12, put it back in the mix. Exponents next, 3 squared is 9, when you know the tricks, it don't take much time. Now we divide or multiply, let's see what we got, take a look at the signs. 9 divided by 9 is 1, the answer's close, man, we're almost done. 4 minus 1 has a difference of 3. When we add the 12, we get 15. Parentheses first, exponents next. Multiplication and division in the same step. Addition and subtraction, if you got the nerve. From left to right, first come, first serve.
Okay, so that's it. That is our PEMDAS rule, or shall we say, the order of operation. Just remember the acronym PEMDAS, and for sure, you will arrive with the correct answer. Now, to test the things that you have learned for today's lesson, I want you to go to our activity. Good luck and God bless, kids. See you next in our live class.